Hi everyone, my name is Dimitri and welcome back to DimitriTube. Today we are talking about Love Island. Long story short, so there was like a water leak at my apartment, so I had to stay with a friend for a couple weeks, and then during that time, him and his boyfriend got me into watching Love Island. And the funny part is, somebody in my comments told me a while ago to watch Love Island, but I didn't think I could do it because there's so many episodes a week. There's like 4 or 5 new episodes a week, which is a lot. I'm starting these reviews kind of late, so the way I'm gonna format it is, so I'm gonna talk about episodes, I think 18 to 22, basically like the week's episodes, and today is Sunday, June 29th. So I believe there's an episode coming on tonight at 9. I'm not talking about the episode that comes on tonight. I'll talk about that on the next review. And I'm not gonna talk about everything that happened leading up to this week. I will mention it as it pertains, but I have been keeping up with the show. I'm pretty sure I've seen every episode except like a couple. But if you wanna know my thoughts regarding something that happened previously this season, feel free to go ahead and ask in the comments. And just a heads up, I'm not a Huda stan. I'm actually kind of upset she's still on the show. And last thing, this is an entirely new show for me, and this is definitely a new format because there's so many episodes, but I'm gonna review it the best I can, so just bear with me while I figure this out. And you know, we can just figure it out together. That'll be fun. Okay, first up, let's talk about Shelly. Out of all of the women Islanders, Shelly is the most unserious. If you're new to my channel, I normally review The Bachelor and like Bachelor related shows as well as Love is Blind. And on those shows, usually the show ends in an engagement or it ends in a marriage. Whereas on this show, there is no marriage, no engagement at the end of this. The only prize is, I guess, the best couple wins $100,000. Which, quick sidebar, don't get me wrong, $100,000 is a lot of money, but if you live in the United States and you live in a major city, it's really not a lot of money. Let me explain why. So right off the jump, if you win the $100,000, they're gonna take out 50% in taxes. And this is if you live in a major city in the United States. If you live in like a random state or maybe someplace that's not a major city, it may be like a little less than 50%, but for the most part, they're gonna take out like 50% of that in taxes. Next, the money goes to the best couple. So once you're at $50,000, you have to split it with your partner. So that's gonna be $25,000. Next, this is just the way I do math in my head, but I would also subtract the money I would have earned just doing my regular day job. And most of these people don't have real jobs, so maybe they would make more money if they possibly won this prize money versus working their day job. But also, most of these people are not gonna win. Your chances of winning are very slim. So long story short, if you see someone on social media arguing they're doing something on this show just to win the money, that could be true, but also like it's really not enough money to kind of like ruin your reputation over, in my opinion. But anyways, complete sidebar, going back to Shelly. So the other women Islanders seem to be pushing their relationships forward more and like trying to make a relationship. But out of all of the women on the island, Shelly seems the least in terms of doing that. And at one point, Shelly was entertaining Austin for a bit, and y'all, Shelly did not like that man. Then fast forward to Casa Amor, Shelly has to decide between Chris and Ace. And this was like a really easy decision. Chris is a tall and beautiful man, but he's boring. And Ace has personality. So it's like, do you want looks or do you want personality? Your choice. And for me personally, I would have did the same as Shelly. I would have chose Ace as well. And do not get it twisted, Ace is a very attractive guy. But for me personally, Ace is more fun, he's more interesting, and he's a little messy. Like Ace is the type of person I would want to hang out with every day. Whereas Chris, I would get really bored hanging with him. So I totally understand why Shelly chose him. Next, quick word on Ace. So this is probably gonna be a very unpopular opinion, but I really like Ace. Ace, Nick, and Olandria are my favorite Islanders. For most of the season so far, Ace and Nick are pushing storylines. And I'm not mad at it. Somebody's got to keep the drama pushing, somebody's got to keep the show interesting, and Ace and Nick have been carrying a lot of the show. Next, if you made it this far in the video, please go ahead and pound that like button for the YouTube algorithm. And Ace has been getting a lot of flack online from what I've seen. A lot of people are like, he needs to stay out of people's business, he's in the drama too much, he's too involved in people's relationships. But y'all, there's literally nothing else to do. Clock me in the comments if I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure all the Islanders do all day is sit around and just talk about their relationships. That's literally all they have to do all day. Like, I don't even think they're allowed to get in the pool. All they do is make breakfast and dinner. They talk about their relationships, and if production gives them a challenge, they do the challenge. But other than that, oh, maybe they can like hit the gym. But other than that, they have nothing to do all day. So if I was on the show, I would start drama all the time too. There's nothing better to do. And another quick sidebar, I don't think they're allowed to drink much, but I will say this show would be way more interesting if they were allowed to drink a bit more. Next, let's talk about Huda. At the top of the video, like I said, I am not a Huda stan. At this point, I'm just hate watching Huda. And like before Casa Amor, I was basically just hate watching Huda for a couple weeks. And I'm not necessarily team Jeremiah, but Huda was very much verbally abusive towards Jeremiah, and she should have been asked to leave the villa for that. If a man had treated a woman on the show like that, he would have been asked to leave the villa. But since Huda's a woman, she wasn't. And not only that, when Huda was up for elimination during a recoupling, America voted to keep her on the show, which was just so insane to me. And now after Casa Amor, she's coupled with Chris, and y'all, I'm praying on her downfall. I was hoping she would get eliminated, but now she has something going on with Chris, and I hope it doesn't work out. And if you're more familiar with the show than me, let me know below in the comments, do the bombshells watch the show before they enter the villa, or do they go in the villa completely blind? So if Chris beforehand watched Huda crash out over Jeremiah and do all those things previously, it's wild to me that he would want to date her, but that leads me to think they don't watch it before they enter the villa. Next is Iris. She's one of the bombshells who entered the villa late. Y'all, she's really boring. Like, I couldn't even tell you who she's dating right now. But the one thing that's interesting about her is the women in the house do like her because she was newer in the house, I believe, but the Islanders voted to keep her in over Hannah, and I think Hannah had been on the show longer, so I do think that's kind of interesting. Next is Olandria. Olandria is one of my favorite Islanders this season. I love her personality, and she is absolutely gorgeous, but unfortunately, it was time for her to go this week, but the other Islanders voted for her to stay. Let's talk about it. Olandria coupled up with Taylor very early on in the show, but y'all, they have no connection. They're honestly together because at the time there was really no one else. And also, what is up with Taylor's tattoo? Like, we really need an explanation on this. And Austin also has a very interesting tattoo that I would like an explanation on as well. Olandria and Taylor got split up during Casa Amor. Olandria went to Casa, Taylor stayed at the original villa. When Olandria initially went to Casa, she connected with Zach S. And y'all, her and Zach had more chemistry in their first 5 minutes of conversation than I saw with Olandria and Taylor the first 18 episodes or so. Literally, right before Olandria and Taylor got split up, they were having a one-on-one conversation, and one of them was like, "What's your favorite fruit?"
What's your favorite fruit?
Pineapple.
And I'm like, we are 18 episodes in, and like, this is where we're at. This is how deep we're getting. While in Casa Amor, Zach S has to choose between Amaya and Olandria. He chooses Amaya, which leads to Olandria getting eliminated. Part of the reason Zach S chose Amaya was because at one point, Zach tried to kiss Olandria, and Olandria did not want to kiss him because she says she does not kiss outside of the challenges. And she says she does not kiss outside of challenges because that's not how she would move in the real world. And that was weird. So you're down to kiss during the challenges when production forces you to, but you're not down to kiss when you're just hanging out in the villa or casa and you're interested in someone, but you won't kiss them because that's just not how you move in the real world. In general, that statement was just really weird to me. Don't get me wrong, my body, my choice. Olandria can do whatever she wants. But when she said that to me, it just seems like she really has a guard up. And just on these past few episodes, it's very clear she just has a guard up in terms of dating, because she goes around the house talking about, oh, you need to make connections. You got to make connections, keep making them or you're going to get sent home. But then she kind of has a guard up when she's dating, and she's not that interested in talking to anyone outside of Taylor. After she gets eliminated, fast forward, she randomly gets this like one-on-one date with Nick, who was also eliminated, and they miraculously discover that they were actually into one another, and and Nick wants to pursue her. If they pursue each other, they get to go back to the villa. This whole thing was so phony and staged by production. They're not into each other, but I guess production kind of needed a reason for them to get back into the villa. The only thing I don't understand, like, why not just say they're coupling together so they can have another chance back in the villa? Like, why do we have to pretend they're interested in a relationship with each other? Like, why are we pretending? Next, unpopular opinion, Nick and Olandria should have been sent home for real this time. They shouldn't have gotten a second chance. Don't get me wrong, I love Olandria and I really like Nick, but bringing them back, it just gets rid of the stakes of the show. It feels like there's no stakes. And don't get me wrong, Olandria and Nick both started on the season, so I guess viewers have like an attachment because that's who they started with, but I don't care. Like, I feel like everyone needs to be at risk of elimination, and you need to set the tone. Like, if you don't find love, you're gonna get eliminated. And by bringing them both back, it just gives the show even lesser stakes. Next, we go back to the villa and there's another recoupling, and we find out Taylor has coupled up with Clark, and Taylor decides to stay with Clark and not stay with Olandria. So just like Olandria and Zach S., Taylor and Clark have way more of a connection than Taylor and Olandria did. Within the first 5 minutes of the conversation between Taylor and Clark, you could see there was way more of a connection and way more of a spark than Taylor had with Olandria. And quick word on Clark, I think in the real world, Clark would not have given Taylor the time of day. But because they're in this situation, Clark gave Taylor a chance. After that, there's 6 Islanders up for elimination, including Olandria, and one boy and one girl has to get eliminated, and one boy and one girl get saved and gets to stay in the villa, and the Islanders end up saving Olandria. And don't get me wrong, I love Olandria, I love her personality, but y'all, she's been saved like 3 times at this point. She needs to go. I know the Islanders like her, but she really shouldn't have been saved. And on Twitter, a lot of people say this show feels like Big Brother, and it really does. Moments like this make it feel more like Big Brother, not Love Island. Next, let's talk about Nick, and we'll also mention Sierra because she kind of ties into all this as well. Nick and Sierra are coupled, but they got split up in Casa Amor. When Sierra was in Casa Amor, she connected with Elon, and then when she got back to the villa, Sierra had to choose between Elon and Nick. And I apologize if I'm missing any more minor storylines. I don't know why I'm struggling to remember like Nick's storyline, but I don't think I'm missing anything. The thing that's interesting about this relationship, so no shade or anything, I think Sierra is kind of boring. When she came in as a bombshell, she was pretty interesting, but now that she's kind of settled into things, she's like kind of boring. When Sierra first entered the villa, she came in pretty hot, and she also, I hate to say this, but she came across kind of like ish, and she was very like, oh yeah, I'm open to everything, I'm open to open relationships, yada yada yada. But as the show progressed forward, you learn she's a relationship girly, and she wants a relationship and someone stable to be her man in the house. And right before they got split up, Sierra proposed like more of a relationship between them two or something like that, and Nick turned it down. Nick wanted to stay open and wanted to continue to be open to other connections. So this is the part of the show that I don't understand. So Nick and Sierra got split up, and Nick eventually got eliminated. And I was not mad that Nick got eliminated because he had an opportunity at a relationship with Sierra, but he turned it down. So if Nick in fact had said yes and they still were separated, if he still got eliminated, like how would that have worked? Like I don't understand how that would work. Like it doesn't make sense that like if they were a couple you would split them apart. Like I guess that's the point of the show. They're just testing relationships, but also like if they finally got into a steady relationship, like why would you split them apart? Like it's called Love Island. Like are we supposed to support love? And this is also why a lot of people said it feels like Big Brother, because during a previous elimination, Hannah and Pepe probably had the biggest connection, and the other Islanders in the house voted out Hannah, and it was just like, what are y'all doing? They actually had a connection, unlike half of y'all. And then fast forward to the latest recoupling, Sierra has a choice between Elon and Nick. She ends up picking Nick. And I apologize, y'all, if I'm missing something in that storyline. Like I don't know why, I just feel like I'm missing something, but if you think I'm missing something, just put it in the comments. Next is Austin. Just a quick word on him. He's one of my favorite guys in the house. My favorite guys are definitely Ace and Austin. Hands down, they're my faves. And so far, Austin and Jaden are connecting really well. That's probably the best connection he's had so far. I'm struggling to remember what happened earlier in the season so far, but I'm pretty sure that's the best connection he's had so far. Next, let's talk about Amaya. Y'all, Amaya is pretty annoying and she should have went home at this point. Amaya is dramatic and she just does too much. And I hate to say this, it doesn't seem like a lot of the male Islanders really like her in a romantic way, so I'm just ready for her to go home. During the recoupling and Taylor was trying to decide between Clark and Olandria, she was doing the absolute most because she wanted Olandria to stay in the villa, yada yada yada, but like, let Taylor go with his heart. Like, we don't need you trying to sway the vote just because she's your homegirl. Like, that's not the point of the show. And just a few final thoughts about some of the Islanders. Pepe. Let me know what y'all think in the comments, but Pepe is very attractive, but he just needs to do something different with his hair and his facial hair. I don't know exactly what, but he just needs to change something and I think he would look a lot better. Vana, or is it Vanna? Vana? I think it's Vana. A word of warning to all of you, please be careful with the fillers. No shade, no shade. It's her body. She can do what she wants. But I was shocked when they said she was 21. Like, that body is done. Like, no, she has had a lot of work done and I'm really curious what she looked like before all the work. And lastly, Zach S. Zach S is hot and he's from Manchester. Love the accent. The only read I do have is like, I don't love his like haircut right here. It's giving like bowl cut. I just need him to like find a different barber or change up the cut somehow. It just, the way it's cut, it like, look closely, it does not look correct. And that's all I got. If I missed something, let me know. Again, I'm still trying to tweak the format of how I'm gonna do these videos. I think I'm just gonna do like one video a week. That seems about right, but bear with me while I tweak it. And as always, if you enjoyed this video, please go ahead and pound that like button, pound that subscribe button, and ring that notification bell, and I will see you all next time. Have a good one. Bye.